He won't next time.
Our blasters are useless against him.
Hey, let's make the baby do the magic hand thing. Come on, baby. Do the magic hand thing. I'm out of ideas.
I'm not.
And welcome everyone to the last one of the season, mind you, Mando Monologues. I have the scum and villainy crew in full effect tonight. I even had to, this episode was so fucking amazing. We had to bring in help. The scum and villainy crew went out and recruited the scummiest, most villainous motherfucker we could find. Chris Wisdom from Breaking the Panels with us, along with TV's Casey and Dennis Robinson from the Botched D&D podcast. I'm your host, Blazing Defender. And what is going on, guys? What did we think about that fucking episode?
This is the way. Absolutely. I mean, this is the way.
It's one of the finest single seasons of television I've witnessed in the past month. Right up there next to Watchmen.
I agree.
And there's no finer way to stick a landing.
Yeah.
Right. I think from about episode 5, it just ramped up. 6, it ramped up a little more. 7, it's ramping. And 8, it just blew us the fuck out of the water. Just like any good TV series should do. It was, I told a guy, like, I'm like you, Casey. I really, really loved that Watchmen episode where we got the origin story of Hooded Justice. I said it was one of the best episodes, single episodes of TV I may have ever seen. And then I watched this and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
If you have a perfect 10, what is your perfect 10? And Mandalorian might have nailed it.
Have you ever given a comic book an 11 on your regular show?
No, but I've been tempted to. But I feel like
I feel like
perfect,
this is another one that's very tempting.
Yes.
Like beyond a 10.
So you like this one better than the Hooded Justice?
I think in terms of a season finale, in terms of a single episode that draws you in, wraps up a whole arc and sets up for the next one, it's great. You get tragedy, you get comedy, you get tragedy, you get everything mixed in between, you get character reveals. You get your girl emotionally acting her heart out.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. You know? For real.
I watched it with Ellen the day it came out, and she's like, I had no idea she was capable of acting this well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, she's just the angry girl from Deadpool. That's all I've ever seen her do, is just be angry.
Did she not watch the Mando Monologues? I sing Gina's praises all the time.
For other reasons.
Yeah. But she did say, and she wanted me to tell you, she's starting to come around. And it's all thanks to your high praise.
Well, there you go.
As high as the gutter will allow, right?
I'll take it.
Every asset is a leap and a bound.
So, Chris, what'd you think, man?
I didn't think it was going to be possible for me to really like an episode that much better of such a good season, such a cohesive season. Like, I didn't think there was going to be one episode that was just so many steps above all the others, because everything has been so good.
Right.
It's just like, it's easy to pick out a favorite episode, but this one is like, I don't care if I had 8 children and this was the 8th child, I'd be like, sorry, 1 through 7, I love you, but you are nowhere near the favorite. You will likely never ever be the favorite. Just accept that now and let's continue on with our lives.
That's good
just
shit.
So good.
But
Dennis.
Dad, you'll always have us as a collective of 8 episodes.
But I don't need you anymore. I only need 8.
Dennis, what'd you think, bro?
Finally found an episode to top my favorite episode. So yeah. So this one is my new favorite as well. I thought it was about as close to a perfect episode as you get. Great way to cap off a season. And just overall a nice appetite cleanser from that crappy movie.
Will this garner the elusive 8 out of 10 for you, Dennis?
Good God.
I gave Rise of the Skywalker a 5. So
Okay. So what do you give this episode?
I give it a 10.
Oh my God, you heard it here first, folks. Hey,
Like I
Dennis
said,
likes something.
I was saying this pre-show that I only had one minor nitpicky thing, and it's just an editing thing. But we'll get into it when we go through our scene-by-scene thingamabob.
Okay.
But it's not enough to drop at a point. Like I said, it's just some like minor thing that I noticed. So I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird."
Yeah, well, we get to your nitpick fairly soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, so we need to talk about this because I just found out today that one of the speeder bike riders was Jason Sudeikis.
You didn't realize that?
Yeah.
I knew I could. I'm like, I know that voice, and this
Yeah.
show's been great for its guest appearances and their cameos and everything. It's been really, really good for that. And I was like, oh my God, who the fuck is this? Who is this? And then I seen where the internet is like actively hunting these two actors down, for their
Wasn't there
abuse
some-
of Baby Yoda. But
I saw some article that said like a town has said that he's not welcome there or something. I forget what it
believe
was.
man. I believe it.
God
It was
damn.
actually pretty. I was pretty shocked. Like the first punch, I was like, "Oh my
They
God,
did-
Disney's showing this? This is fucking child abuse."
One,
And then
how
he did it
dare
2
you.
other times.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, he was in the bag, so you don't see him punch it. You
This is
just
true. This is true.
Disney wouldn't have had him punch the puppet.
No, so like
It's
last
still
night.
child abuse is still implied, Dennis.
Nope.
I mean,
if you can't see it, it
Yeah.
doesn't count. That's how
So-
it works.
So yesterday, my family and I were in Kansas City. We were at this pizza place, right? And I was taking my son to the bathroom, and as I was going away, my daughter pops her head up over the booth and says something smart alecky to me. So I go back because she ducks behind the booth, and I punch down, like just to. And she chose that moment to come right back up, and she took a full-on meat hook right to her forehead. Everybody in the restaurant saw it. Everybody, and I'm still allowed in that restaurant, unlike Jason Sudeikis going into that town. So-
holy shit!
You
Yeah.
want to talk about meat hooks? That last punch after Baby Yoda bit him in the finger.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It was. He threw some weight behind that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you may not see it, but you still hear him whine when he's punched.
Yep.
So
It's like Bing Crosby always said. It doesn't count if it doesn't leave a bruise.
Yep.
Sock full of
Uh,
oranges.
Yep.
Can I just say that the two stormtroopers like bickering was
Oh.
my favorite part of this entire episode.
you
when they
know,
were
of-
trying to
really
shoot,
great.
when they were trying to shoot, and they were
Oh.
so awful.
shaking the gun.
Shaking the guy.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it sounded like it had loose batteries.
You know, of-
it's the implied thing, right? Because stormtroopers can't hit the fucking broadside of a barn, and it was like we actually got to see that on screen of them making fun of that. It was like
But
breaking fourth wall, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was,
And of all the
cool.
things for them to do a callback to, like troopers, that is the
Yes.
craziest thing in the world
Yeah.
for them
Yes.
to do a callback to, and they did it, and
Yeah.
they did it successfully.
Fan film of all
I
time.
just-
yeah, that was amazing. I mean, just the start of this. 15 minutes in, and I believe Debo is in the chat. He texts me and he's like, dude, this is one of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen, and I've got 16 minutes left. And it's like, I
God,
know.
just wait until after the credits.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you want to talk about a jaw
Yeah.
dropper, but we're gonna get to
Holy
that.
cow.
We're gonna because I know everybody wants to talk about the dark saber. Trust me, I do. Too.
You know what, Chris? This also reminded me of is Tag and Bink.
yeah. Yep. Yeah.
It's you get your classic those two guys, you put them in, and it's like standing by. It's like, yeah, Moff Gideon just he just killed a bunch of his own men, so I would wait. It's like, all right, it's pretty standard stuff. Everyday life of a stormtrooper, no problem. It's perfect. I don't think they could have done it better.
Yeah, no, I agree totally.
Yeah.
But then, okay, so once we get past that, they're trapped inside the bar where they met the client at, and at Moff Gideon we got that in the last episode. He approaches. Yeah, what's up?
Whoa. First, hey, listeners, everybody out there on Twitch, that's actually a mythosaur on his hat, not a crate dragon. I don't want to pull a dude's card, but that's a mythosaur, not a crate dragon.
Oh,
You're fucking right. We actually talked about this on one of our episodes, Casey.
Sure
Sorry.
did.
Sorry, kids.
I was always operating under the idea that it was a crate dragon skull, but I think
Yeah.
I
Mythosaur,
was
buddy.
too, but now as soon as he said that, I was like,
But-
holy shit, that's right.
But hang on,
I'm glad you said that.
how recent of a retcon is that?
That's not a retcon. It's always been a mythosaur.
Oh, come on, really?
Yeah, sorry, bud.
Were they in Legends? I've never heard of them until.
Yeah, so Mandalore the first, I believe, was he went on. So they basically mythosaurs are extinct now because of the Mandalorians. Crate dragons.
They're the buffalo. Of,
yeah,
of Mandalore.
Yeah, crate dragons can be found on Tatooine.
That's right. Yeah, it's you're totally right.
It's a mythosaur.
So
Sorry,
now that
Travis, I didn't mean to.
now that Casey's been replaced as our lore legend,
Hey,
we'll
the
move
night
on.
is young, and I'm
but you're not.
Right. Yeah, but you're not. Yeah. So we find out Moff Gideon, like we get a lot. We get a lot right here when Moff Gideon's basically like taunting them and letting them know, hey, you think you know what you got, but I assure you don't. And Cara Dune or Cara Cynthia Dune, from Alderaan. And you're like, whoa. And then we get the Mandalorian's real name,
Din
Djarin.
Djarin. And you're like, what did he just call it? I mean, like, I'm backing it up and shit.
I'm expecting this guy to start dropping social security numbers any minute.
Right. And then that also leads you to believe that this part of the Empire, he was involved in the Night of 1,000 Tears.
Yeah, and I believe some backstory that's come out since is he was in the ISB.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, absolutely justified. That
yes.
The only thing that could have made that scene better is if he had just brought a paper bag that said, El Dos Imperos Locos. I mean, it was straight Gus. It was so Gustavo. It's not even funny.
Wow.
Just minus the accent. Man, did I love this part. I just love him so much.
He was fantastic.
He chewed
really
up
was.
all the scenery he's in.
And he's not afraid to get his hands dirty.
No,
not at all.
I love it. He strolls out there, battle armor and a cape, blaster at his hip.
Well, and like even when Mando gets the Gatling gun, basically, and he's fucking mowing down troopers, Moff Gideon's like, he has kind of like a Val Kilmer, Doc Holliday moment where he just he's walking up on. I'm like, holy shit,
Zero
what's this
fear.
dude doing?
Listen, when you apparently lead the charge and roll over history's greatest warriors, what else do you have left to be afraid of?
Yeah, and again, we'll get into how he got the Darksaber. What?
Nobody mentioned that yet, buddy.
Nobody mentioned it yet.
I said it a minute ago. We all want to talk about the Darksaber.
Oh, okay.
But we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, goddamn, it's my show. All right. I say wrong shit, but I know when I say wrong shit.
So in the final scenes, all right, check this shit out. This is
yeah, we're just gonna fuck all the other shit and go straight to the end. No, the end was fantastic. But there were so many great moments in this, right?
Oh yeah.
So then we get that moment, and then okay, so Dennis, I believe I'm right in the timeline. We see IG-11, his programming as the ultimate nanny droid kicks in, and goes on a goddamn rampage on a speeder
Just like
bike
the first episode
with Baby Yoda, though. Like
where he
Baby Yoda's
kills
right here. It's
Jason
like
Sudeikis and the
Cub
other guy
moment.
though was great though.
Yeah,
when he murders the first two stormtroopers,
Yes.
Jason Sudeikis, that part was pretty great.
Oh,
because he's still trying to be like proper-ish.
Yeah.
While right before he murders them.
Sure.
Yeah, it was great.
Those poor biker scouts.
No,
They gave
fuck
us
them.
so
They
much
deserved
joy.
it.
That is 100% why they had them punching Baby Yoda. They're like, these two are gonna get messed up pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't really want anyone to feel bad for them, so let's
Yeah,
have them punch Baby Yoda.
Because if all you do is have them crack wise about what's going on, and all of a sudden IG-88 or IG-11 murders them,
it's
you're
like,
like,
hey,
"Oh,
I kind of, feel for these guys.
So
there
Dennis,
will always be more.
What was your nitpick on that scene where IG-11's speeding through the town, just wiping out people?
So when he's driving around shooting people, when he hits people, there's no blaster marks, there's no holes, there's no burn marks. They just, like they got laser tagged. They just fall down.
All right, well, we're moving on because that was fucking lame as shit.
I said it was minor.
Listen,
motherfucker.
There's a totally great explanation for that, and it's because
let's hear it.
I'm sure the 501st Legion fans that they used as extras in this episode did not want to get their armor dirty.
Oh man, but
that shit is expensive.
Yeah.
Cosplay is no joke,
That's true.
especially when you do it at the level the 501st does.
Dennis and his miners. But the thing that I really
Hey, my
appreciate
name's
about
not Paul.
the thing that I really appreciate about the scene was another callback there. Him on that speeder back was from the Clone Wars, the mini tune episodes when you first meet Dirge in those, and it's IG droids going out on speeder bikes. I mean, it operates. They had lances on that, but like the head movements and everything, it's screamed that. It was beautiful.
All we needed was a cool Akira slide, like Obi-Wan.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that scene, man. Like again, we're early on, and it's like, oh my god. I mean, he's just like the first episode, when he's just like he's spinning around, he's shooting motherfuckers behind his back. He's not even really looking. It's
the
so
turret
dope.
that walks.
Yeah, I mean,
Who doesn't want a Baby Yoda bulletproof vest though?
Yeah, I mean, was anybody else like, oh, dude, no, don't put Baby Yoda in. Don't put him in
He was
his
just
fucking
gonna
front.
twist around every
It was
time a
cool when he
blaster
would
bolt came.
Twist, but I'm like, that's still a pretty dangerous spot to put Baby
Sure.
Yoda in case there's a stray
But
blaster
there,
bolt.
but there was a scene, I don't know if he was walking at first or after he got off the bike, where he had Baby Yoda and he was taking some fire and he his body
Twisted.
turned around.
Yeah.
But he was
He
still
did it
walking.
walking
That
and
was
on
dope,
speed.
man.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit. And ain't that the kind of shit you want to see,
Yeah.
because, we're thinking it. We're
Yeah.
like, man, we see him twist and turn and keep walking straight because he really doesn't have a forward or backward, right? So
Yep.
why wouldn't he? And he does. And you're like, yeah, man, that's what I would have did. So, yeah, really cool. So what else? What else, guys? Like
He
help me
shows
out
up,
here.
they're all pinned down, and then they
There you
kind of make a tiny break for it. A little.
Mhm.
Well, he rides in, the speeder bike flies off, blows up, and that's when the shit gets heavy. Because
Mhm.
then the other guy's like, all right, well, I guess we're in this now. And they all just go outside and start mowing people. Well, did Cara Dune go outside? I can't remember. If she left.
Yeah,
No.
because she saved Mando yet again.
Yeah. She was
Yeah,
fine.
that's true. She did. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's not
Is
forget
that-
Grief Karga downing a shot right before he's. about
Well, he
ready to
shot
walk
the
out through
power
his
supply
death.
to the Gatling gun. So
I'm like,
that
that's,
blew
that's
up
a mood.
Yeah.
Mando. So
Well,
then
Mando.
Cara,
Well, right away when he fights the Death Troopers, though, that part was super badass.
Yeah.
oh fuck,
Because
yeah.
they put up a semi fight,
They did.
but he still messed him up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did.
The one thing that was kind of funny is Carl Weathers just standing there looking around every once in a while, and I'm like, how's nobody shooting Carl Weathers who's
Oh,
not
no,
hiding
you know
behind
what was
anything?
great about him, about Garf or Grief? He was doing shots.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
he's shooting like, fuck this, man, I'm about to die. I'm going out fucked up, and he's just
Yeah.
shooting. I'm like, I dig that, man. That's fucking cool as shit right there. I like that. And he was kind of a character that it seemed like this episode and the last one, I guess, when Baby Yoda healed him and he kind of had a redemption arc himself, right? And then like this episode, we get a little bit more personality out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that because I really like Apollo. I mean, who doesn't?
Dude,
Yeah.
he's a big money hustler. Like as soon as the day is saved, he's like, your guild rates have gone up, and I'm like, is there not a better time to talk about this?
Exactly, man. True to character, always true to form. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
he gets Cara Dune to consider maybe working for
Yeah.
him, and I'm just like, is the body cold? What's
Right.
happening?
Yeah.
Right. So when Mando gets blown up, he's hurt. He's hurt pretty bad, right?
Oh yeah.
So when they take him in, he's basically saying, "I'm not gonna fucking make it." And Cara is very much like, "No,
The
I leave
best
nobody
acting
behind. You're
of her
coming with
career.
us."
Mhm.
What's that?
I
Case?
was moved.
Yeah.
I
Well,
did not
okay.
expect that. I did not expect that caliber. If you're gonna make it, it's gonna be fine. Like you hear that in everything, and you're like,
Sure.
yeah, whatever. But I'm
So
like,
did
he
you
might
all
not
think-
make it.
Did you all? Yeah. Okay. So that was going to be my question, you guys, because I'm sitting there going, I'm pausing it, looking at the time, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
I did that
is
too.
this motherfucker going to die? Like I thought he might, and why?
Yeah.
Well, they had to kill him off because they gave him a name, and the
If it
show's
was
the
10 minutes,
Mandalorian,
if
so-
it was 10 minutes later,
So Baby Yoda
maybe.
becomes the new Mandalorian.
there
Who
you go.
gives a fuck?
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
you-
you put him in
150
the
years
hell.
from now, when he
So,
learned how to talk.
Chris, did you think there was a shot that he wasn't going to make it?
No, I really did, because that's one thing that's always been good about this property is there are stakes with Star Wars. Not so much in the movies as
I was gonna say
people that
Did you watch
understand
that
like
last movie?
the extended universe.
Sure.
There's plenty of stakes, especially when it
Sure.
comes to Mando's, you know?
Yeah,
So-
exactly. That's true.
I definitely was nervous there for a while. I was doing the exact same thing, seeing how much time was left. Especially after, it was tough. I mean, his hair raising, and then you find out that how easily that could have gone south once, you know, they make their escape.
Yeah, and the whole time, which was a very cool part also of 1,000 cool parts in this show, is the pyro trooper coming in. Like, and he's slow-moing that. They're like, you know, fucking like Freddy and Jason or some shit. Like, you know he's coming, so y'all need to do what you're gonna fucking do. And the whole time you're like, dude, this isn't gonna fucking happen. I mean, he's not gonna fucking make it. Dennis, you're shaking your head no, because I know you.
No, I shook it. I said, yeah, no, the armor.
Oh, did you
cool
think he was
too,
not gonna make it?
Yeah.
Oh, so you know, I didn't. I thought he was gonna make it, but I was saying, the question I was gonna have: would you have preferred if Pedro Pascal had died in that scene, and then the blacksmith chick takes Baby Yoda from then on, and then season
I'm good
2's
with that.
Oh yeah,
chick-
That's
So good
almost
with
what
that.
I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
It'd have been cool if Pedro's helmet never ever came off this whole
I think
series,
so,
and he
too.
died.
Pretty sweet.
Died as he lived, wearing a helmet.
How much did you make off of this?
Well, then you find out he like shot one scene in the armor and said, "Fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Let the stunt guy do it." You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do all the voice in AR afterwards.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Forget it. I'm done. It's
Casey,
like,
did you think he was going to make it?
No. I really thought he was going to bite it and they were going to pass it along to the Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious you all say that because I was really shocked. Okay, so IG-11 has
they
this
just
moment.
gave it so much punch, you know. Cara Dune is like cradling his body and he's like, take care of the child. And I'm like, this is it.
So good.
It was the same as the Spider-Man dying in Infinity War thing. It's like, you know, he's not really dead. It's
But he
still an
did
emotional
die.
scene.
He
Yeah,
did, though.
whatever. He
See,
just went away for a
I
bit.
get invested, man. And like when I get this invested in a show, all like logic and what I know is going to happen kind of goes out the fucking window, which I'm glad that I'm not a cynic like Dennis and go
Unfortunately, I'm a little
plot
autistic.
armor. He's not
Can't-
dying. What's wrong?
help
Why
it.
is everybody crying? He's not going to
Never turns off.
You know, so and that's what I'm saying. I get emotionally invested.
That
like
happened.
Casey and Chris. You know, I'm like, fuck, he's really not gonna make it. So
That happened in Rise of Skywalker, where the
We're not
person
talking about
sitting
Rise of
next to me-
Skywalker,
I know. But
No,
when
I'm
a
just
certain
kidding.
individual almost or was appeared to be killed on a transport, she was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "They wouldn't kill a main character off screen."
Also, he's in the trailer doing other stuff.
so we're gonna get to the. I want to get to the armor. So IG-11 has this moment where I can save you. Pedro's like, I can't take my helmet off, and he's like, well, no living thing can see me without my helmet. Well, I'm not a living thing.
He
Yep.
pulls
So-
a gun on him first, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
He what?
He pulls a gun on him first because
gun.
IG-11 is just like,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm just gonna take it off.
He also
Yeah,
assumes
yeah.
IG-11 is going to mercy kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Because he's
Well,
like, go ahead and do it.
And
There's a
Mando-
lot to unpack
Mando's
there.
like, get it over with. And he's like,
Yep.
get what over with? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the droid has finally come for me. Finished what your predecessor
because we
started.
know,
Yep.
and we know, Jen has a phobia of fucking droids from what
Yeah.
happened to his family, which we get that. We finally get that whole scene though, right? We finally get to see, and we had talked about this on past episodes, what we thought happened, and if we would ever see what actually happened when his parents closed him in the gates. And I always kind of thought that we would see the Mandos get him, you know, and that's why he takes up this creed of the Mandalorian.
I was a little disappointed that they all were wearing identical armor in that scene.
I wasn't, because that was Death Watch armor, baby.
Oh, you're right.
I know. It's a
Again,
thing I do.
the lore expert strikes again. Chris 2, Casey 0.
I keep
If
thinking
the
they're
chat's
all
keeping up.
dead. You know?
Hell, Casey, I knew that. I mean, yeah, that was. I mean, hey,
I like a variety.
I agree. No, I agree. I'm with
You
you.
know,
I'm
you
with
could
on
stack listen.
But it was-
It's almost like you could take all the different kind of helmets and just stack them all together, and it looks really great.
Especially when they got holes in them.
Yeah, right in the visors. Oh.
They're not
And-
made of Beskar.
Well, no, they were though. They were.
I don't think
because it
those
was
were.
through the visor. It was through the visor.
Well, but not all Mandalorian armor is made of Beskar, though.
No, it's not. But the one that he picked up that had a hole through the visor.
Okay.
I want to point out somebody in the chat. Rhino315 is like, speaking of IG-11, how about him terminating the fuck out of everyone and then save everybody in the same moment? I believe, this episode was called Redemption. And I believe this was IG-11's redemption story. It wasn't the Mandalorians. It was IG-11.
Yeah, he goes out like the T-1000, baby.
Totally
What a legend.
Terminator moment. Yes, absolutely.
If he had thumbs, he totally would have done the. But he doesn't.
Shit. So I want to get to the armor, okay? Because after he gives him the back to, is that what it's called? Back to.
Yeah, the back to
I
spray.
I didn't know came in a spray. That's fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Have you read a book? Have you read a book?
Listen, I don't remember there ever being anything like first aid.
Yeah, there's back to spray. That's topical too. Sorry.
Now he's just fucking with you, Case. He's hammering it home now, buddy.
Hey, Case, if you feel bad, just point out that he doesn't know as many people as Shannon Tucker, and he'll go right back into his hole.
There you go.
That's not my problem. Her bragging about it is what bugs me.
Oh yeah, she's name drop queen, man. No shit.
Yeah, she is.
So anyway, we get into the sewers. They're trying to get back to the sanctuary the Mandalorians had, and we see this pile of armor that obviously shows that when from I believe it was episode 5 when he exposed himself and them and their where they were hiding out. Apparently, the Empire did come back to get them. And that's the reason you have this pile of armor there. But the armor has stayed behind to salvage what she could of the remaining armor, which, again, I guess that's part of their creed. I'd be like, man, fuck this. You could pick it up, put it in a ship, and go salvage it somewhere else safely. You know what I mean?
Gotta melt it down first.
Hey, captain goes down with the ship. So, and apparently she obviously wasn't just the armorer. She obviously had many years of experience and a high standing, a high rank in this probably this paramilitary structure that the Mandalorians used, which we get his signet. I mean, a lot happens right here, right, guys?
So she gives him the mud horn, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I thought they weren't going to give him that,
Right.
Because he didn't earn it.
Well, because now you guys correct me if I'm wrong. This is my theory on that. Because someone asked me that. They're like, well, why was it good for him now and not then? Because when she finds out that the baby is the one that helps him, because she never really knew that before. He said an enemy helped him, right?
Yep.
So it's basically like the baby saved him from the mudhorn, and he is in turn saving the baby by protecting him.
Because it's a foundling.
Exactly.
So he's carrying on the tradition.
You two are the same now.
Okay.
Now I was kind of like, was Baby Yoda, if he does become the Mandalorian, which it's kind of leading right there, right? It's kind of pushing us in that direction that maybe he will be.
Well, he's like, do I have to train this thing? And she's like, hell no.
Yeah, that's what she says.
Go take him back to his home planet. And meanwhile, I would have been like, I don't even know what the fuck he's called.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where are you supposed to look?
Right. Well, and then we get our first reference to the Jedi too, right?
Yep.
Which is kind of a KOTOR callback. Where right?
They also talk about the Mandalorian, Jedi Wars, and Clone Wars a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes back all the way to, I don't know which. I think it's someone in House Kryze, but he was a Jedi and a Mandalorian,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a period of great strife.
Now
It's a long sordid history.
Vizsla was the first Mandalorian Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Yes, because he's
That's
well, which which shall not be named until later is
Right.
his. Yes.
Okay. I remember that now. Okay. I was just checking. So yeah, we get a lot in this scene. He gets his signet. He gets his motherfucking jetpack, which is called Phoenix Rising, right?
Mhm.
Is that what they're calling that?
Yeah.
And
I think
okay, so if I had an issue, and we're going to jump ahead just a little bit,
I know what you're saying.
it is kind of with, she's like, have you trained in that? And he's like, yeah, I've trained in it. And she's like, well, You need to practice it or it won't obey your commands.
No.
Yeah.
The motherfucker uses it pretty well.
Yeah.
I feel like she was being colorful in her speech.
He flew up. He timed it. He flew up, and then he used his grappling hook. And then he softened his landing.
Yeah, he flew,
I mean,
he flew down-ish.
It would have been funnier if he didn't have a soft landing, because I was expecting that, because he doesn't know how to use it the whole way yet.
Yeah, but he's done
funny.
he's done some training. Like, I think there was enough Rocketeer in there for you to recognize there was some Rocketeer
He
without
watched
going
it while driving
without
like
going
you
full
did.
Rocketeer.
Got
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
A VHS tape from a galaxy far, far away. In the future.
This movie has lots of good ideas. I'm gonna keep this in the back. Of the
Yeah. Yeah, well, and again, that was kind of like, that was really my only kind of gripe. He was pretty proficient with it, you know, and having never worn one. But obviously, he had some training in it. So he's Mary Sue, or Peggy Sue, or whatever the fuck it is, the jetpack. Mary Sue, Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue?
Gary
Gary
Stu.
Stu.
Gary Stu.
Gary Stu. Gary Stu, the jetpack.
Like, why do you keep using women names? The male version. What are you doing?
So, what happens after this? I'm losing it.
So, well, after they go see the armor smith, she's like, "Oh, I'll hold him off till you go to wherever you're going." And then the stormtroopers come in while she's holding her tongs and hammer.
Yeah.
The best fight scene in the whole
They give her
series.
the old tough cop routine, poking her with the gun.
Yeah.
And
Love
then
it.
it's
Take her
hammer
helmet
time.
off.
Love it. I didn't know, like, I could fully expect to see that, like, it cuts. You don't know what happened to her. And then in season 2, you see her again and you find out that she whooped her ass.
Oh, I
You
thought
didn't.
she was dead. Like they were just
yeah.
gonna execute her.
Yeah, I thought, or that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I did not expect to see what I saw. And
No.
fucking hammers, like we talked earlier before the show started, stormtroopers' helmets are breaking apart.
The
Which is
plastic
dope.
is shattering. I
Yes.
love it.
So badass, man. I was like, this is how pumped I was. I watched that scene. I had to pause it. I took my fucking earbuds out. I sat it down and I went. I made some coffee. I just kind of walked around the waiting room for a little bit. I'm like, let's fucking go. Let's do it. So I fucking dove back in. It was just too
Play
much.
it back, watch it again. Play
Yeah,
it back,
too much
watch it
for
again.
me. At that moment, I couldn't handle anything after that. I had to fucking wait for a minute. So fucking great fucking scene, man. Like maybe my favorite scene in the entire series, honestly.
A buddy of mine thought she was toast too, but I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
She's too ice cold cool.
So
She is-
they can't just dump her.
She's alive, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
what? I mean, we go see her again, right?
We have
Yeah.
to. So,
Yes.
so we saw this little conclave of Mandos. We haven't seen any of the other foundlings, but we know the foundlings exist, and we know that they give tribute to take care of the foundlings. So now she has to go back to as close as you can get to a central point before it branches off again. Like season 2's got to have more Mandos. We're gonna see this network, this wonderful, wonderful network.
Yeah, I think it's I think that's a must. Like, I'm going to be really disappointed if we don't get something like that, right? Yeah, I mean, I think
I want to see the Jon Favreau Mando again.
the heavy gunner.
Like, imagine him coming back just pissed off because like he had to give up his entire lifestyle.
Wasn't that his helmet?
I think it was.
I don't
I
know.
think he's
I don't know
dead.
if
His was
I don't know
his
if that was
blue,
his.
I thought, and the one he picked up was like a reddish orangish
Yeah.
color.
I seen it. I seen multiple sources online say that was his helmet.
Because I thought that was supposed to be because that was the point of him picking that one up and being like,
Right.
I can
Right.
I can
could be
just
wrong.
I could just see him coming back on a rip and tear where it's like I gave up my heritage by removing my helmet to protect you, and now I have nothing.
no.
I'm,
So
I'm a
here-
Mando in exile.
here's what's going to happen. So season 2, right? We're going to roll in episode 1. It's going to be directed by Ryan Johnson. He's going to go hand the helmet of the Jon Favreau helmet to his brother and like.
It's like poetry.
Fantastic.
It rhymes.
Or what if they all just took their helmet off and forgot where it was, and then they left? So now there's a whole pile of them. So
I've
they're all
done it.
alive.
I've done it. I've made fire runs before, and we're all
You
putting our
say
shit
this
on,
is
and I
the
go,
way. We
Shit.
have
"The fuck is
changed
my
the
helmet
way.
at?"
I've had to charge people for them doing that exact thing.
Not
They've
gonna
been
leave.
asking for a new one.
Yeah. Well, thank God when we get there, it wasn't anything that I actually needed my helmet for. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Then for like the next 6 months, it's the first thing I put on the truck is my fucking helmet, so I don't fucking forget it. But yeah, so fantastic scene. All that was just great. So then we get to is that when we get to the River of Lava?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And the most terrifying droid I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
entire-
Never seen an R2 unit quite like that.
Don't make him angry.
Wow.
You wouldn't like him when he's angry.
He's got 4 gangly arms and a couple of gangly legs, and they seem to go on forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that was
Like, the fuck is
wild,
this?
man. And I mean, even the actors were like, or our characters were like, oh
Yeah.
shit, like
Hmm.
it looked like odd to them even.
Because like,
You
when was
know?
this a thing?
Well, you always see an astromech. I mean, we've seen other astromechs besides R2.
Sure, they don't
And
got arms and
they're
legs.
so small, This motherfucker
They're like,
was
whoa,
like
give you arms and
Frankenstein.
legs.
This is the astromech droid that's like, you don't ever talk to me or my
This
son
is the
again.
Slender Man version.
That's him.
He's
Right.
like, I'll beat a Wookiee at Dejarik and not care.
It's like, go ahead, rip him off. I got more.
Yeah.
I don't even give a fuck.
You a fuck,
fun-
man. We missed one of my favorite moments. I just thought of
What?
it. I can't believe no one said it.
What?
Baby Yoda becomes the
Oh.
dopest firefighter in the galaxy.
Oh yeah,
Holding back the
Briefly
fire.
mentioned it, but yeah, we didn't talk about Baby Yoda's part of that. Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. Because again, I thought the Power Trooper was pretty fucking cool, or Flame Trooper, whatever
Yeah.
you're calling him. And when he comes in, he's fucking lighting shit up. I'm like, for one thing, again, with everything burning, this is what, okay, for those
You wouldn't
that
walk
don't
in.
know, when things burn, it's usually not fire that kills you, it's fucking smoke. Smoke kills you way before fire ever gets to you. And like, IG-11 and the Mandalorian or Mando's having this conversation. I'm like, God damn it, where's the smoke at? This
To
fucking
be
place
fair,
is burned down. There's no
There's
fucking
lots
smoke.
of holes in that building.
Well, ventilation makes fire worse.
Yeah.
So they'd
It
be
was- it
better
was-
off
Go
to be
out,
closed
though,
up.
wasn't it?
It was too hot. It was too hot, Travis. It's too
Oh,
hot
that's
for
what
the
it
smoke.
was. Yeah.
Yes.
Too
That
hot.
sounds good. I like that.
Good.
I can work with that. I
Yep.
just need to be distracted. That's all. I
Yeah.
need.
Well, they didn't
It's like-
show you. The building has a sunroof, so all the smoke just went straight out that.
Ah, okay. It was ventilated. Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense. Yeah, thank you. I needed that. So Baby Yoda catches this fucking fireball and sends it back and blows the fuck out of the dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's
and then,
Also,
and then he does this.
Really nice to see Flame Troopers back.
Then he goes out. What'd you say, Case?
I love to see the Flame Troopers.
Oh, yeah, they're dope. Every time
They're
Mando
really
uses
cool
his little flamethrower, I'm always like, yes. Even if he
Even though
just
he's gonna
fucks
shake
it up.
it like a spray can.
At least that's a cool armor that did something for more than 2 seconds, unlike some other red-colored armor in
Yeah.
certain other.
yeah.
media.
Still
Oh.
mad about it, huh?
Yeah. Oh, the badass Sith troopers.
Yeah.
They were weak. So weak. But yeah, so that was a badass moment. All right, so now we're to I guess it was the lava river that made me think of that. So now we see the crazy astromech, and we're tunneling through. IG-11 has his moment where he's obviously
Terminator 2
he's
moment.
conflicted with his programming, and then he makes Mando basically swear to him that he'll take care of the baby so he can go to his factory default programming, which is to self-destruct. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll
We've
be
been
back.
waiting for it.
This
We
is
knew
where
it
you
was
all
coming.
talk. When I stop, you all start.
Slender Droid won't stop, so Cara Dune has to shoot him a whole bunch of times.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then they're just
Yep.
drifting. And they're like, crap, I can't stop.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I thought it
will
was
just take
cool. I always love it when Mando uses his helmet. For one thing, it's something we haven't really seen.
Yeah.
And he uses his helmet and he sees them, on both sides of the.
He's got
exit.
predator vision.
Yeah. Yeah, he
No,
does. Yeah.
and that's one of those things that I always appreciated about extended universe was they would talk about exactly
Sure.
what Boba Fett could do and what he could see, and then in the Republic Troopers series, what they could do and what they could see.
Yes.
There's 180-degree vision that these helmets can do for you, let alone the thermal vision, night vision, what have you.
Right.
They've done a very good job in this series of putting those things on display.
Yeah, and they make it to where it still looks like it belongs in the Star Wars universe too, because it doesn't look like fantastic CGI or anything like that, but it looks like it belongs in a Star Wars. Just like when he's on his ship and the control panel, it looks like New Hope shit.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Switches and buttons.
Yeah. But it's cool because we recognize that and we accept that because this is part of the universe that we understand and we recognize. But yeah, so of course, like I said, we all know IG-11 self-destructs, saves the fucking day.
By the way, if you're any of those stormtroopers, why would you not open fire immediately on the droid walking through the hall?
Yeah,
that's true.
Because our whole point being here is to ambush what walks out or floats out. And they're like, oh, what's that? That's weird. What's he doing? Oh, he's got a thermal detonator? Oh, okay.
So I think if they understood, they're stormtroopers, so maybe they didn't understand what an IG's self-destruct sequence. They didn't realize it was a thermal detonator,
right?
But if from an ambush perspective, if you only see one body come forward, and you know that you're waiting on at least another 2, if not 3, then your perspective is okay. So do we waste the surprise by annihilating the one guy out, or do we see if we can get enough time for them to get closer?
Well, normally with a normal ambush.
Please, Dennis, tell me all about how normal ambushes work.
You're not right there waiting. So it's like, if you're trying to keep the element of surprise for the next ones.
But Dennis,
obviously he could just say, hey, by the way.
Shouldn't all of those troopers have an attack of opportunity roll? I mean, what's going on?
Exactly. Well, to be fair, unless they saved their action, they wouldn't, because you only get attack of opportunity for leaving the attack range of the individual, and you don't get attack of opportunity for
did you finally read the rules?
I know those.
Well, it could have been too when they weren't expecting a droid to walk out either.
No.
And they're looking for Mando, the child, and he had a little bit of element of surprise. Now, it may have lasted a little bit longer than it probably should have.
I love that there's one stormtrooper who's just double wielding. Like he's like, I'm not fucking around.
I didn't see that.
He's got 2 rifles out.
Oh, that's
it's really dumb.
I've been trying to catch up on Witcher. I've been trying to finish The Witcher, and I really, really want to go back and watch it again because this episode, if any episode, deserves another watch. It's just I'll probably go back and watch the whole fucking series again, honestly.
Oh yeah,
because it's that good.
It's really
but yeah, pretty cool moment. And then now we can start to talk or get to talking about the moment we all want to talk about is Mando obviously. We talked about a little bit briefly about him using the jetpack to get Moff Gideon, which was
he swoops in that brand new tie with folding arms,
dude.
Wings,
which I think is actually based on original concept art for First Order TIE fighters.
Okay,
yeah, we said that when you weren't here last time.
Oh, sorry, I missed it. I missed that bit. Yeah. I love it though. I really love it, and Carl Weathers doing have the baby do the magic hand thing.
Yeah,
that was
then
great.
Baby was just like, hey.
Yeah. He knew, you know what I mean? He kind of knew what he was saying. Like, is this what you're fucking talking about? It was pretty cool.
No time for magic hands, buddy.
Great. It was a great scene. Again, we kind of talked about Mando and his experience with the jetpack. I mean, like you said, Chris, he spun around and fucking grapple hooked him, it still looked great. He blows him up. Apparently he blows him up. So we get a little cut scene at the end, and it's what everybody's kind of been talking about. Go ahead, Chris.
Can I just say that yesterday on Facebook, a Facebook ad pops up, and somebody is selling magnetic LED detonators like Mandalorian carries on his belt. So that's how quick you can put into production merchandise.
Yeah.
I don't understand why there's no Baby Yodas until second quarter of 2020.
So they already have those?
Etsy? There's got to be something on Etsy.
I just saw it popped
there
up on my
is.
Facebook feed. Yeah, it's
There's a million T-shirts and everything else.
It's just a little disc, and it's a little push button LED. It's magnetic base, and it's good to go. And I'm like, somebody has the forethought to do that for a show that dropped on fucking Friday.
Yeah, shit.
And from the studio that brought you Baby Groot. I don't have a Baby Yoda in my hand for the Christmas.
Those flashing bombs were in an earlier episode where it's him and Cara Dune fighting with the ATS team.
This is true. Yep, on the tanks in there. Yep.
Oh, Casey gets one.
Yeah.
He's still trailing, but he's narrowing the gap. I knew he
Fun
wouldn't let me
fact,
down.
I'm not actually that confident. I think they are different looking bombs.
No, I think you're right. I'm pretty sure you're right. That's what they put on the tanks in the tent. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Now
what
that you
Chris
say
is
that.
referring to when he says second quarter is like the pops, the
officially
dark-
licensed.
yes,
plush.
the officially
Well,
licensed
the whole
stuff.
reasoning for it was that Favreau was like, I don't want the first episode spoiled, and I'm like, better to have the merch for the Christmas season, no?
Yeah.
That's odd. Yeah, that was an odd choice, honestly.
Well,
when you
couldn't
think
they have
about
just
it.
released it in December?
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
you wouldn't be spoiling it. Because the show
Yep.
came out in like October, November, right?
And
Yeah.
that's you don't need to. It was in November. You don't need to. You don't need to show anything at Toy Fair. You don't need to worry about the spoilers.
Sure.
Just have the stuff ready and ship.
It will sell itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so everybody in the chat's like, let's talk about the Darksaber. All right, goddamn it, let's talk about the Darksaber.
Moff Gideon. Oh, okay, first of all, Jawa's not even waiting. They're on that like white on rice. Okay.
Oh,
Moff
Hey, you know-
Gideon cuts his way out of the TIE fighter with the Darksaber.
Yeah.
Looks incredible in live
It
action.
really does.
You wouldn't think it would because it's weird with the
Mhm.
black with the white outline, but it looks great.
Looks fantastic. So I'll ask my two lore guys since I got you on. So it is a lightsaber. It was used for the guys in the chat that missed it maybe earlier. Tara Vizsla was the first Mandalorian Jedi. It was her lightsaber. Now is it made by a crystal?
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
But
All right, I didn't know because it looks different.
I
Yeah.
believe it is also the oldest lightsaber in existence at the moment, as far as anybody knows, according to a
Yeah,
video I
it's
watched.
ancient.
yeah.
It's old as
from
fuck. I
Mando
mean,
to Mando.
yeah, and again, you guys would be better talking about this than me, but it was kind of like whoever wielded the Darksaber was in charge of the Mandalorians.
That
yes.
was a later
That,
thing, yeah.
yeah. That was a later thing. But that
I don't
was,
know where the
that
hell
was-
you get a black kyber crystal though.
I know that's kind of what I
Yeah.
was wondering.
Yeah, it's
Snoke
totally
had one.
unique.
Who?
What?
Snoke had one.
What?
You guys didn't know that? Okay, so in the movie, he has a ring with a black kyber crystal, and at the Disney World Star Wars place, you can buy kyber crystals for your
Oh, yeah.
lightsabers.
Mhm.
And I think it's like 1 in every 200 of the dark side crystals is actually a black kyber crystal, which you can sell on eBay for like $2,000.
Yeah, and if you want, so they come in like a little canister, red canister, right? And you can't tell, all you know is you're getting a red crystal.
Yeah.
But if you take a flashlight and you shine it in
Used
through
to
the,
be.
if you
They fixed
shine it
that.
through that, did they fix it? Okay.
They fixed it, and they also made it so you can only buy one at a time, and it comes behind the counter. So
From
you have
behind the
no idea what
counter?
to get.
Shut
Yeah.
the fuck up.
Oh
Yeah.
man, they
Yeah.
shut down those chase variants.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Toy Power.
But you know
And
what? You don't even need that. You because it's an RFID thing. So there's
Yeah.
you find the
The-
codes on the interwebs to
The
change your
only thing it does is if you put it in a lightsaber, it's still a red
red saber.
light, so it makes no difference. But if you put it in like the Sith hollow thingy, I forget what it's called, it will have a line from Snoke, and that's the only thing that's special about it. And people are paying $2,000 for it.
Wow.
I'll take.
hey,
one
remember
for
when
dinner.
this first showed up in like Force Unleashed and it was the coolest lightsaber skin you could have?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
black with a
fucking
white
love that
outline,
game,
dude. It looks
man.
crazy.
Yeah.
Also, it comes out in like an actual sword shape instead of like a rod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading that they did that on purpose because Mandalorians, that's what their weaponry looks like. So he's like, I'm gonna make one that looks like an actual sword. So it has like the hilt. It looks like a samurai sword almost on the hilt part.
Okay.
And we can skip over almost the entire history of it until we get to Bo-Katan Kryze, who, as of Rebels, was the last living leader of the Mandalorians in possession of the Darksaber.
Yeah.
So, R.I.P. Starbuck, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Because Moff Gideon definitely took it from her, and she would not have given it up without a fight.
Yeah. And this goes to what we were talking about before. Well, I say we, what three of us are talking about
Because
pre-show.
I was late.
Okay.
But so it confuses the timeline for us.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Be-
Go ahead.
because as we were talking before the show, is they're gonna supposedly the next episode or the next season of
Yes.
Star Wars anime that's going to come out is Clone Wars, and they're going to explore the Night of a Thousand Tears in the next season of Clone Wars. But that doesn't make timeline sense because that should have happened in Rebels time. In Rebels time, not
post Rebels.
Right, post Rebels, but closer
Post
to Rebels than Clone Wars.
Do you think it's just Clone Wars in name only? Like it's just going to be
Well, it could be like a flashback, right?
a flash forward?
Oh, well, yeah, that
That's
would make
the thing.
sense.
I feel like they're calling it Clone Wars Season 7 to ride on the hype of the show being back, but also they're just going to use it as a vehicle for like any expanded universe story they want to tell in an animated format.
Maybe, but I mean,
Maybe.
when he's talked about it, he keeps saying going back to. I'm excited to go back to those characters and that.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Sure. I want to address something in the chat because Rhino says red and black are both synthetic as they are corrupted by the dark side.
They make the crystals bleed, right?
Yes,
That's new though.
that is new.
That's
but it's
new.
still canon. But it is new.
Yeah.
That's how they make the red sabers. Is they
I don't know
actually
about the
take
black.
crystals and make them bleed with the power of the dark side. That gives them the blade the red color, or the crystal the red color even. The black, again, this is kind of new to me. With the dark saber shit, I didn't know, is the black also corrupted? Because
Yeah, I didn't know about
Mandalore and the Mandalorians really weren't good or bad. They were very militaristic in their society, in their code and the way they did things, but they weren't really they weren't conquerors as much as like they went out and just conquered people they weren't like Vikings. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if the black is considered a corrupt crystal. Do we know this?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have
I
to
don't
look.
know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't
That
even
was
know
new.
if the color differentiation is still important, between like Jedi Guardian and Jedi Consular and all that stuff. We talked about that before too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it's changed. According to Wikipedia, the synthetic crystals are canonical, but not in the way that all the red ones are synthetic anymore.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's just related to like Death Star stuff, and Luke's green lightsaber is synthetic still.
Right.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
It's in a
So
weird place. Canon's in a weird place.
So let's, okay. So that's a little brief history. I know a lot of people were asking me about the history of the dark side. Well, what the fuck was that? Was that a lightsaber? Was it a viral blade?
Yeah.
So with all that being said, and we've kind of give you a brief history of it. What do you got? What does this mean? Like, what does this mean going forward? And I guess we can get into season 2 stuff now if you guys want. Like, what does this mean for Mando? Like, he obviously has got a bone to pick with this motherfucker, obviously. So what does the introduction of the dark saber? What do you think what does this lead you to think about as a story or a future plot line for season 2?
So I think the Mando culture is finally going to get its due on screen that it should be getting. It should have always gotten. And to me, if they don't pull Karen Travis in to help flesh out some story in season 2, I go, you are nuts. You are so crazy. This is how I know you don't like Star Wars.
What do you mean? Karen Travis wrote some of the worst Star Wars novels.
My God. Have you read the Republic Commando series?
Yes.
Have you read anything that she does with Mando? It's gold. It's gold. Maybe some of the other stuff, but when you're talking Mandalorian culture,
Yeah, like the Legacy of the Force stuff.
Legacy of the Force itself is not great. So I don't know why you're getting.
No, you're right.
I mean,
no, you're right.
No, it's cool. I mean, I forgot that Casey hates females.
That's me.
No,
You keep getting us mixed up,
Ouch.
Chris.
I'm
Dude,
just
you're
kidding.
talking about Legacy of the Force. My favorite fucking Jedi is Jaina Solo.
That's not what you said earlier. You were like, man, I wish Jason would have killed her. But
Yeah.
she talked. You were like, she talks too much. No,
She absolutely talks. Yeah, that's it. That's absolutely. Fuck.
No, you're fine. So, but no, I mean, criticism. There's fair criticism about Karen Travis, but I'll tell you what she nails right. She nails small unit tactics. She nails small unit relationships. And when you're talking about Republic Commando and the familial bonds and the way that it works in Mando culture, which they're starting to show pieces of in this series, she nailed it, and that's where she needs to be brought in.
Yeah.
Plus, you wouldn't have the Mandalorian phrases and legacy and culture that you have that they're borrowing from without her. So I don't know, Casey, is she a trash writer or do you like the Mandalorian culture?
No,
which is it? It's your choice. It's your choice.
She's fine. I'm not crazy about her or the other two guys that were writing in a circle for then, but I can't argue that her impact on the making clone troopers interesting. You know, we wouldn't have the cool clone troopers in Clone Wars if it wasn't for the stuff that she put forward.
Yep.
True.
So, you know,
and she may be one of these writers that's great at world building and stuff like what Chris is describing, but maybe you just don't like her storytelling. And
no, it's fine. I mean, I'm mostly just kidding, but it's about how I love Legacy of the Force, but also kind of backhandedly recognize that it's not very good.
Sure.
And she is like one of the pillars of that.
Okay.
I think she wrote more Legacy of the Force books than she did in the Imperial Commando ones.
There was 5 Imperial Commando, right?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Four Imperial and then 4 Republic and then Imperial.
Oh, you know what? I forgot
it's either
about the
three.
Imperial one.
It's either 3 and 1 or 4 and 1.
I don't think I read that one.
So
the Imperial one. Is it good?
Yeah, there's Imperial Commanders, the Order 66.
But it doesn't matter anymore, Travis.
That's true.
It's still a good read. It's still good.
Yeah.
Well, and we're seeing this all the time. Like the shit that they're saying is not canon. It's not canon until it's canon, right?
Right. Yeah.
So they're pulling shit in, and we've seen this in Rise of Skywalker that wasn't canon before, and now it's canon.
But the details, my friend.
Sure.
The details.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason they make shit not canon, so the details don't cloud their storytelling going forward.
I would like the one. I don't know if Travis did it, but Karen Travis, excuse me, Travis with 2 S's. If she established by the time of a New Hope, 1 in every 3 stormtroopers is still a clone.
That was her.
I think.
Was that her?
That would have had been her.
That was her.
Yeah. That was always a good metric I really liked. So you would always have like one old dude in the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they were usually like commanders.
Yeah, well, they're veteran soldiers.
Right, exactly.
I would hope if you've got 18 years surviving in the Great Galactic War, that you'd be more than just
but it's the Empire too. I mean, you see how racist they are against aliens. I could see them getting that way towards clones.
Maybe.
Jason wanted me to let you guys know that you're all wrong. Kathleen Kennedy said they had nothing to work with for all these years for these movies.
Did you? Not to totally divert this, but did you hear that Kathleen Kennedy was apparently the one who told them to bring back Palpatine?
Huh.
No, I did not.
I just read that today, and I'm like, really?
Did you read it on We Got This Covered?
You know what? I didn't look at the source. I should
source
have,
but
I didn't.
God, that fucking man! Everybody that posts that shit from that site, I go, oh shit, oh fuck. I mean, it's like, oh shit, oh fuck, in the same breath. When I see
now I got to deal with another 2 weeks of AIDS on my computer. Thanks to you.
Yeah, it's like it's bad when a comic book site like that gives you more viruses than Pornhub does.
Okay, well here we go. Apparently, Chris Terrio, aka beloved writer of Rise of Skywalker and Batman vs Superman, threw her under the bus and said that she was the one who came up with the plan for the 9th episode, and he wrote around her ideas.
Wow.
So that is pulled as a quote from an interview and sourced. It's on IGN and Sci-Fi Wire and let's see, a couple other places. But yeah.
Wow.
It is also on Flickering Myth, so who's to say?
So Chris thinks that we're going to get the Mandalorians are going to get their due in season 2. I really hope you're right, and I think the reason they bring the dark saber in, it's got to be a larger scope kind of idea, right?
Do we?
Yeah, because it's going to be what I think like bands them back together.
Yeah, unites the Mandalorians from obscurity and hiding. You know, like we're going to be a fucking culture again, and we're going to fuck anybody up who says different.
Somebody needs to ask Boss Logic to do a King Conan pose of Din Djarin with the dark saber.
Oh, that'd be fucking dope.
Yep.
Dennis, where do you think it's going?
Season 2. So I think that by the end of season 2, they won't have Baby Yoda back on his planet yet. I think the big reveal or whatever they're going towards for season 2 will be just figuring out that info as to where to go next. And I think season 3 is when they're actually going to be venturing towards the planet or whatever. Or maybe they do find it and find out that nobody's there anymore, that it's been razed to the ground or some shit by the Empire. I don't know. I think most of it's going to be him trying to figure that out. Like, what is Baby Yoda? Where do I go for Baby Yoda? While also fending off Moff
Gideon.
Yeah, Moff Gideon. So I have a feeling that's most of what it's going to be about. And probably still fending off bounty hunters, that Moff Gideon sends after him and all that jazz. So you could still keep it episodic. And I wish they'd make the episodes, or if not, make them a little longer, just make more of them. Because with the way that the show's made, it's not like Stranger Things where you really don't need more episodes for that particular type of story. But this is more, each episode is its own little contained story that touches on a bigger subject. So you could have more of them like a normal TV show, because the runtime's just kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's random.
We talked about this in a past episode, but I think they're going more towards a like a BBC type of TV style where, I mean, some seasons will have 4 episodes. They may be an hour and a half long. It's like, this is our fucking story. This is how we shot it. This is the best presentation of the story we can give you. You know what I mean?
Instead I'd love 4 hour and a half episodes of Mandalorian.
They could have done the last 2 episodes as one long episode.
And
I mean, you could do that, and then you'd have 4. You have 4 episodes.
Do it like it's like a made-for-TV miniseries.
Yeah, right. But you don't want to fall in the Netflix Marvel show conundrum either, where
you throw it
they
all
gave
at once.
every fucking season 12 episodes, and they should have been 8 and cut out all the bullshit.
So it should have just been Daredevil and nothing else.
That's where it's different, this show, compared to the other shows, because this is more, I guess, serialized is the word I'm looking for, where every episode is a different story, whereas in those shows, the whole season is a story, and they just kind of go off on very tiny tangents within each episode. This is very different because this show, like one episode he's on a planet saving whoever's. The next episode he's on a planet bounty hunting some Asian chick. The next episode he's doing this. Like, it reminds me more of Supernatural.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like Supernatural.
The overarching.
We have the overarching
right.
episode, or the theme, and then each episode is its own little adventure. Like, that type of storytelling lends itself to having more episodes, whereas Stranger Things,
I really like the pacing of this series, and I feel like if they fuck with the timing of the show, we're going to get not necessarily a lull, but we're going to get some moments that you could have did without. Like episode 2 to me is still my least favorite episode of the series. It was him walking around a lot, and it's like,
it's just to prove that there was a jingle jangle.
Okay, we haven't talked about that.
That's the only thing that's left unsolved.
Yeah, right. And that is kind of like, I said last show, if fucking I don't see Boba Fett, I'm gonna be so pissed. I didn't even fucking think about Boba Fett till later. I was like, holy shit, we didn't get any Boba Fett. Yeah. I didn't even give a shit. This episode is so good.
What if they just like throw Boba Fett just right into the garbage again? Like where he shows up and he's like looking tough and he just shoves him back.
Just gets one shot.
So what do we think about that?
Listen, I feel like I can speak for Chris Wisdom here when the only time Boba Fett is fucking cool is in the expanded universe because he's ice cold.
True.
No, and that's true, and that has to do with them, George giving up on the story early on.
Yeah, they're like, you want to use Boba Fett? Go, whatever.
They did say that the next season will have more established characters that though.
Oh,
so
yeah. I still want Boba Fett to show up and them to just call him the Pretender or something like that.
Well, when I first watched this, when I watched the first episode of the season, I was like, I almost want this guy to be Jodo cast without being Jodo cast.
I was just gonna say,
and now that would be perfect to me. Only I really like him now, so I don't necessarily want him to die necessarily, but. And he's not pretending to be Boba Fett, but Right.
That would have been. I was just gonna say, if you can cite 2 instances of Boba Fett being an absolute badass in the expanded universe, one is when he tracks down Jodo Cast, who's been impersonating him for a while, and they get into that totally sweet jetpack fight. And 2, when he get the gifts he gives to the Solo family or the Skywalkers after
The Crush Gaunts.
Yeah, the Crush Gaunts, and like he trains Jaina to kill her brother. Like he's like, I'm 70 years old. I'm dying of clone degeneration disease. I don't give a shit anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. He's so cool.
What is that? What is that story from? I don't remember him giving any gifts to the Solos. What was that?
That's in Legacy of the Force.
Legacy of the Force.
Legends.
Yeah,
Legacy of the Force era stuff.
Yeah, he so it all starts actually in the Yuuzhan Vong time period when they start realizing that Boba Fett and the Mandalorians are an asset.
And if you don't know who the Yuuzhan Vong are, just imagine it's Star Wars, but the Borg, but they're gross, like John Carpenter's.
Yes, the Borg. So they use living technology instead of artificial technology.
Yeah.
But no, that's one of my absolute favorite scenes of Boba Fett is in the Yuuzhan Vong when they're on the spaceship fighting, and it looks like all is lost. And you know how pumped you were when the Mando is having that gunfight against all the bounty hunters, and you're like, oh, hope is lost, and then that rocket comes over and it's all just Mandalorian love.
Yeah.
This happens on a space station where you think all hope is lost, and it's your favorite Star Wars main characters on this thing. And Mando's come out, and it's like Boba Fett being like, yeah, now you kind of owe me.
Damn, that sounds dope. Lots of good stuff, Kathleen Kennedy.
The old
just
expanded
saying.
universe had a lot of gems. There's a lot of garbage, but the good stuff is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think the pacing is good with this show. I wouldn't want to change that. As far as where I think the season will go, I really have no fucking idea. I mean, like, I think Chris could be right. I think Dennis could be right.
I think it's to be a train heist.
There needs to be a train heist.
Yes.
Yes. That is the one
whole
thing.
Season is a train heist.
Casey really wanted this season was a train heist.
Oh, each episode they get another car further. That's it.
Just or a
the prison break was good enough for
it's
me.
like a Snowpiercer, but Mandalorian.
I did Snowpiercer. A 315 to Yuma episode, baby.
Yeah. That could definitely happen, right? We could definitely see that.
Fit. 310.
I would really hope that, because, you know, the one other thing that we really didn't get an answer to is, what is Baby Yoda? I mean, I think we're all pretty much on the assumption that he's not a clone. And he's probably not the reincarnation of Yoda. He's probably just a new member of that species, right? Which we don't know shit about. I'm really hoping season 2 we start to answer those questions, not just about Baby Yoda, but about his race. You know what I mean? And with the Mando's new mission statement, I feel like that's going to be part of it. Now, how much of a part of it, I don't know, but I really, really hope they start to turn the page on that.
So I had always, like, my headcanon when I was reading Expanded Universe was always that Yoda's species were forced children. Like, this is right. You know, the Force creates these.
Yes.
And that's how you build a prophecy on something.
Sure.
And so when you introduce this series, my immediate thought is, okay, he would have been born about the same time as Anakin was.
Right.
We talked about this.
Yeah, so he's the prophesied one.
Right.
But Palpatine does do what everybody thought. He manipulated to create Skywalker because he either didn't believe the prophecy or he wanted to set up his chess pieces for the Jedi to follow and do his Manchurian candidate. I think that I don't know that we're going to see like a species. I don't know how good of an explanation we're going to get. And I'm glad that there's that. I think we're going to see, I think as far as pertaining to Baby Yoda, I think we're going to see Coruscant. There's no way that we don't see Coruscant.
I agree. Yeah.
They're going to have to go to what is left of the Jedi Temple there, which would be the Imperial, what's left of the Imperial Palace, for the best concentrated knowledge. They may go other places too. But I think we're going to see Coruscant, and I think we're going to see them delving into, you're going to get Jedi without Jedi. Everybody always says, oh, there's too many Jedi, too many lightsabers. It doesn't have to be that. We're going to get into the lore of Jedi without actually seeing Jedi, I think.
Right.
Does the temple still exist?
New canon, I'm not 100% because I don't know that they've addressed it because I haven't read enough of the new canon. Okay. But it was always the Imperial Palace was built on the ruins of the Jedi Temple.
So now, in Palpatine's basement.
Well, now they kept the library though, right? Because we've seen that in the Vader comic. Right,
because that's where the Grand Inquisitor hangs out. He's like, finally, I get to read all the books I want.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of how they found out Kyra.
Fucking Jocasta knew.
Kark
hiding all the
Infla,
good books and shit.
they end up finding out that he was alive because of the library. So I know
Right.
the library is still intact now. Like Chris, it may be this part of the Imperial Palace that Palpatine wanted preserved.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
mean, because that's all Coruscant is just built
Sure.
on over top of
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, it's,
yeah. Seeing
And
Coruscant,
you don't
would
even
be
really need to
fucking-
go like crazy with whatever you got to find in Palpatine's basement. You could do it with a single holocron.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it would
Well,
not
it's
be
not
it
built
would not
on top of everything anymore, right? Then
You know,
again.
I could see that too. I could see season 2 having maybe a couple episodes where, hey, there's this Jedi holocron over here in this planet that might give you some answer. You know what I mean? And then like Mandalorian,
Or maybe they could find a map, but it's written on a knife, and they have to get the knife translated.
Well, no,
Can-
well that part is on a knife, but then you got to find a droid that has the second part of the map. Of
And then
a
a
person
tiny
that
little
doesn't want to
alien
be
that's
fucking
voiced by
found, but
Moaning
yet-
Myrtle to
there you go.
reprogram your droid.
I'm not going
Can
to
non-Jedi use
holocrons.
holocrons?
No, you need the
No, you
Force
gotta
to
use the
open it.
Yeah, I
Force.
thought you needed the Force.
Yeah,
I guess they
but-
could just make Baby Yoda do it.
But you know what?
Yeah.
That's back old canon. You couldn't use a lightsaber if you weren't a Jedi either.
That's true.
Yeah, because you
Finn
had to use
fucked
the
that
Force to
all
work
up.
the switch.
Yes. So
Although that's weird because Han still does it in Empire.
right, but that was
Yeah.
and that was one of the things that they lent to. But it wasn't necessarily about the switch. It was about control of it because you have a weapon that's hot plasma on one end, but there's no weight to it.
yeah.
So like a normal person, you have to be in tune with the Force and the crystal to be able to wield it properly. But
They should bring back all these needless explanations.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
but no,
no
I was
shit.
gonna say I'm not gonna defend the dagger, but I know that in the early '80s, I'm looking at 3 dudes that went fucking ape shit over a long staff and a fucking beam of sunlight
Yes.
that led the way to some motherfuckers.
Hey,
Yes.
that's a cool scene. And it exists in real life, Jack.
Yeah, Jason in
Machu
the
Picchu.
chat's like, I can't believe none of y'all cried over seeing the Nick Nolte grave.
That
It
was
was sad, man. Like,
that
I
was pretty
I
moving,
bummed
but it's
out
also
last
kinda like-
episode when you find him smoldering at the end of the show, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh man, the Ugnaught, come on.
I feel like Mando should have written on his little tombstone, I have spoken.
What was
Here
it?
lies Queel. He has spoken.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So Casey, is that did we get to you on where you thought season 2 would go?
Not
Besides
exactly.
train
I
heists?
do hope that they don't kind of dick around. Like I would really love for him to find the planet of the Yodas.
I would too. Yeah.
And
That'd be
whether,
fucking
abandoned or
nuts.
not, like I want there to be a closure to that arc. Maybe even sooner rather than later. Maybe the first episode ends with him like touching down on the planet,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think
And
they'll
the- and
pull an
it-
Iron Fist season 1.
What?
What?
You think they'll pull an Iron Fist season 1? Remember at the end,
Where
he
it
finally
sucks,
goes back.
like every
Oh,
episode's
yeah.
awful and
But
fucking
at the very
disgusting.
end, the very last scene you see in the show, he finally goes all the way back
To
to whatever it's
Kunlun.
called. I can't remember.
Kunlun. Yeah.
Kunlun,
Yeah.
and it's not there anymore. It's been destroyed.
Yeah, that's. I mean, maybe they could
It's
probably
it's
do
like
it
poetry.
better.
It's like they rhyme.
It's hey, it's my bit. Stole it from George Lucas. No, I don't know. I really love the idea of the Clan of Two. I love that they're straight up just
Love
going
it.
for the lone wolf and cub thing
I
now.
love it.
Very like wandering the earth, like even without a task, like just surviving or just doing good deeds or something like that. Like that's fine. Like even if it's maybe he has to unite all the clans. He catches a glimpse of Gideon with the Darksaber and he's like, I gotta get that back.
Right.
But I need my boys. So maybe that's it, is that they find that the Yoda planet, there's nothing there. He can't return him, right? So then what do you do?
Yeah.
You know,
That's the step 2 to
I
a foundling. If
definitely.
you can't train it, you bring it back. If you can't bring it back, what do you do?
I
You know,
I totally see that happening where, like you said, I don't know where to take this thing. I know nothing about it, and really nobody does, right? So I could totally see there being a moment where he kind of I ain't gonna say gives up on that because it's always going to be his mission, right? Because it was given to him. But there's going to come a point where, hey man, he's a foundling now, and I'm gonna keep looking for this dude's place, but I'm gonna teach him. I'm gonna teach him the Mando way. I'm gonna teach him.
It's like in
Mandalorian
law,
creed.
they call it due diligence of discovery. And it's like, if you've exhausted every realistic opportunity you have to find credible evidence relating to what you're trying to do,
Right.
You've done it. Like you've succeeded in adhering to the rules of your people. You've gone above and beyond looking for this. Is it even an endangered species? Like if it's like a 1 in a million, like it's like finding an extinct.
Well, if Chris is right, if they are like truly created by the Force, like, then is there a planet? You know what I mean?
I think where we're gonna find them, I don't know if it'll be in season 2 or season 3, because you also have to think about the long game. Then you have to figure out what happens between the Mandalorian and the events of the sequel trilogy, and why are there no Mandalorians, right? So I think I think this is going to take the Mandalorians, you're going to unite them, and it's going to take them out into the unknown regions to fight whatever it is that Thrawn and Ezra Bridger have been holding back.
I was
for years.
Right.
And it's not going to be the Yuzan Vong.
I'd be okay with that.
Me too.
Oh yeah, that'd be fuck.
No,
man,
but
that'd be
you know, they could do the thing where like maybe Yoda's species is like Zeb's. You know, they're past the hyperspace barrier or whatever, at the edge of the galaxy.
I definitely think if there is a planet and there is a species, these motherfuckers walking around somewhere, it is in the outer rim. Like, it's nobody knows where the fuck this place is. You know what I mean? And it's like in the Jedi Temple, we're like, he sees no planet there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the kid finds the fucking planet because it's not on his star chart or whatever.
Yeah.
I believe it's, you know, if that's the route they go, I think it has to be like in the outer rim somewhere.
Do you think that the audience is the only people who don't know about Yoda's species? Like the Jedi know where he's from?
I don't think they.
What if Yoda was super nefarious and he just wiped all record of his species?
Oh, he's the Lobo? Is he the Lobo of the Yodas?
He's like, nope.
The last Zarnian of Star Wars.
You guys don't know anything about my peoples. Just forget about it.
I'm the main Jedi. You know?
Nothing here.
That's it.
Yeah, y'all thought Mace Windu was badass. Let me talk to you about badass.
Yaddle was just a clone made from a drop of his blood.
So I guess I think we're all in agreement that this is our number 1 episode.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah.
They crushed it. They absolutely crushed it.
Yep. And that is a way to go out. That is a way to go out.
Oh man. I mean, again, everything this whole season was fantastic. We've already kind of, you know, we all agree on that. But to end it and stick the landing like they
as
did,
a whole,
I mean,
9 out of 10.
Like we've given scores for each episode, but what would we give the whole season like as a
good
whole?
question.
9 out of 10. If you average them together,
I'm gonna give it a 9.
Yeah, same.
I mean,
wow, that's 2 9s out of 10 for Dennis in one night.
I said 10. I said 10 and 9. You fucking.
Sorry.
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think why I wouldn't give it a 10 though. Honestly, I mean,
well, see that episode 2, you really hate.
No Boba Fett.
No Boba Fett. That does piss me off.
And no trains. That's enough.
No trains.
Who was jingle jangling at the end of episode 6?
Like it's
what if they show that it's
just? The world
just?
may never know.
What if they show that it's just the Mandalorian going back to pick up something?
But that's
and it's like,
I dropped my flashbang.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He changes
the
boots.
gayest shit ever if that's what they do. Like, you talk about fucking red herring. That is bullshit. Like, there's no way.
He picks up Baby Yoda's ball in the sand.
For that.
Like, oops, left this.
What?
That picks up Baby Yoda's ball in the sand. He's like, "Oops, Baby Yoda gets cranky if he doesn't have his
ball
or whatever."
Can't believe I dropped this a minute ago.
I'll take my 9 back on the season. I know that. Quickly, I'll snatch that motherfucker back.
You think you can just go back and undo a rating?
Yes.
That would be
on
like
the internet.
That would be like the first half of your latest movie undoing half of the previous movie. It just doesn't happen.
That would be like releasing an Oscar-winning film in 1977 and then 20 years later re-releasing a not Oscar-winning film.
Right. Exactly, Chris. Exactly. Well, anybody, you got anything else, guys, that you want to add? There was one thing, and
what recurring characters do you guys think are coming back?
What's that?
So they said established characters that exist in the movies or whatever. They didn't say exactly that, but they said established characters that you all know will be in season 2. Which ones do you think will pop up in season 2?
Young Phasma.
You think?
Really?
I don't know. Why not? She's cool.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to see.
about it.
I want
I'm
to
wrong.
see more of her. You know, I don't know if you guys ever read the book that she was in by Delilah S. Dawson, but like she's the Mad Max of the Star Wars universe.
It's true. Yeah.
And they just bring her right up to Imperial Command, and I'm like, this is great. They're just gonna throw her in a hole in space. Like that's it. That's the end of her. Like no, give me more epic backstory. I don't care.
Since 1983, Casey. Since 1983,
Yeah, I
we've been
wouldn't say
saying
she
that.
was well established.
Come on. Since 1983, we've had that problem. They take good characters and they throw them in a hole.
They just dump them in a hole. I don't like it. We did mention this on a previous episode, but I'm still holding out that they get all the Empire Strikes Back bounty hunters in some form.
That would be
like
awesome.
just straight
Yes.
up Dengar, Boss,
Zuckuss, yeah.
Forlom, Zuckuss, like all of them.
Yeah. That
You know, I
definitely
think
want to
it-
see that.
I thought, am I crazy? Wasn't Forlom's head in episode 1?
That I don't know.
Where
I
at? What scene?
I believe I'd have to go back and look. I feel like
I mean, we did kind of get a Forlom with Zero in the heist episode.
yeah, no,
Prison Break.
I feel like his head was like laying on the ground with some other stuff,
Huh.
like
Oh.
as in
I
a
remember
background
that.
piece.
Could be, though.
I'd have to go back, but
To the
some reason-
Wikipedia after the show.
I already said my two. I think this is where they
Yeah.
bring in Ezra and Thrawn.
Oh please! Oh please!
Wow. Wow. You think they're going to bring in Thrawn?
You could actually get Mickelson to play him.
You
Wow.
You could
Okay.
do it.
That's a hot take. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It's Filoni, man. If he pulled the Darksaber out of his
It's
ass
true.
to put in live action,
yeah.
give me
that's
those
true.
weird space squids from the end of the universe, and
and for all we know, in the background, for as much as he toes the company line, maybe Filoni has been doing the Lord's work in the background, and ever since day one of acquisition, he's been like, you have got to do a live action Thrawn. The
Yeah.
fandom wants it. They will reward you if you do a live action Thrawn. This is his chance to go like, I told you, motherfuckers. I
Yeah.
told you.
look, he's got 3 novels in the bank right now, not counting the old Heir to
Yep.
the Empire, Dark Forces, all that stuff.
New trilogy launching later.
Yeah,
20?
and there's another one coming.
Oh.
They got Zahn pumping out like what 6 books about Thrawn in the new canon, which is more than he had in the old canon, and you're telling me you're not going to put him in live action now?
Sure. Yeah.
Come on, he's got more books than anybody. I think.
So
Does
there
he?
was.
Is Darth Bane still canon? That's the question.
I don't think so. No, I mean, his books were before the
Well-
acquisition, so no.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
yes.
I think they're marked legends, but it's funny every time I go to Barnes and Noble, I like to look over there in the paperbacks, the ones that say legend, and look at the isn't it the Coruscant Knights that like book 2 or book 3 is the Last Jedi.
Oh,
and
is it?
Yeah, and it has the Legends banner over it, and I'm like, see, motherfuckers knew.
Yeah.
But no, I Thrawn, I don't know that he's because Stackpole's got. So are you talking new canon? If you're talking new canon, then yes, I think he's got the most.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Uh,
if you're talking old canon, yeah, the old Wedge has got the most
Yeah,
books.
What,
so,
was it-
9, 10 of
But
them?
now you
Yeah.
were talking about Bane being canon. It was an episode of, I thought it was Clone Wars where Yoda
they went-
fights like a
Force
reincarnation of Bane.
yeah. So Bane is canon.
Okay.
And he's but not the story of Bane.
It's
is
pretty
Right,
much like
right.
it's like Bane exists and the rule of 2 exists because of him, and I think that's it.
That's
That's
it.
basically because
Exactly.
even Korriban is Morabon and
Yeah.
all of it. So
Revan is canon too,
yes.
Yes.
but his story
Well-
is all fucked up.
Well, so
It's weird.
yeah, because
weird.
it's weird because people are like, oh man, there's Revan, what is it? The Revan ship, the ship name, or the Revan battalion or whatever it is. They're like,
the Ebon
Mhm.
Hawk or
yeah, they're like,
whatever it
oh,
is.
that brings Revan into canon. I'm like, well, no,
No, it
because
doesn't.
Old Republic brought him in
Right.
the canon and they accepted
Yeah.
that. So.
Yeah.
That's the trilogy I hope we get. Like big screen. I want Knights of Old Republic. I want that story. I mean, I gotta have it. Like
You
before
got
I
your
die.
boy Ryan Johnson doing it. Ryan Johnson trilogy, Old Republic. He can't mess with anything.
I swear,
doesn't
I will
matter anymore.
fucking shoot myself. If
Yeah, you're
fucking
super
Ryan
excited
Johnson
for
does
that trilogy, but you'll be real sad if they botch it up.
Yes. Well, yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan. That's what we do. I mean, we pray for new movies and then we bitch about them when we get them, you know? That's kind of where I was at with this new movie. I mean, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but it was riddled with problems, but I sat there and I enjoyed it. And before we had the internet and all these trailers and all this shit, what'd you do? You went to a fucking movie and you either liked it or you didn't. You didn't get on chat rooms or have podcasts where you bitched about all the problems. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we've become our own worst enemy. And being that I review things, it's kind of like I have to pick something apart, right? But this series, which I think Star Wars fans have been asking for fucking years, something new, something fresh in a galaxy that we all recognize. But it's new shit. So there's really not a lot we can pick apart of it because there's not that much established, right? I mean,
it's
like Chris,
listen, it's starting to build up.
Oh, for sure.
With as much, like, they're putting out almost as many comics now that they used to, which is insane. And there's got to be at least 2 or 3 novels every year.
And they're getting ready
and whatever
to start.
Project Luminous is, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
It just keeps coming.
But Charles Soule's doing the Bounty Hunter series in February.
Yeah.
And Boba's going to be in it. So now we don't know where in the timeline exactly it is, but whatever they do is going to be canon, right?
Yeah.
So that's the reason when I heard that series was starting, the Jingle Jangle and episode 6 or whatever it was, we're like, oh my God, they're going to bring Boba back. They're going to bring Boba back live action, but they didn't. We still may get him. You never know. That would be pretty cool. Like maybe we don't get him till season 3. Maybe we get a Jingle Jangle scene in season 2, and you're like, oh, remember back in season 1 when that happened?
They'll just keep you jingling and a jangling.
Just keep it. Yeah, just fucking don't ever show him. Just have
there is a funny thing I thought of the other day that I did want to share with you guys for tonight. Imagine that the Mandalorian just keeps going, and we see Baby Yoda age in real time.
That'd be fucking awesome.
It's like the Truman Show where it's like we were there for his first steps.
Yes.
His first words. The first baby beloved by millions.
Have you guys seen the art that's I posted it on the Facebook page of Baby Yoda in the Mando armor?
Yeah.
Fucking dude.
It's silly.
Fuck that. Get that motherfucker some armor when he gets, when he's able to.
Wouldn't
I
take
don't
much
care.
Beskar.
Fuck it, I want to see it.
It's not a lot. Yeah, it's not a lot.
What's that?
One of his ears should be
it's Beskar's half off for him.
Yeah.
Good one. If you guys don't have anything else to add, do you?
No.
Nope.
No, I think we covered
season 2.
I think we
Make
covered
mine Mando.
Which is until
chat,
fall of next year.
Yeah.
If you've got any questions, fire them off. And while we do that, Casey, where can everybody find you at?
You can find me on the Bad Coyote Funky podcast most Thursday nights, 9 p.m. twitch.tv/Bad Coyote Funky. And I know my boy Debo has got it prepared right there in the chat. So if you're watching this now, later, or whatever, there's links to it everywhere podcasts can be found under the sun. But we'd love to see you live because you can see all of our dumb faces on video.
Dennis.
You can find me on Botched, a D&D podcast on all your podcatchers. It's a comedy podcast where we get drunk and play D&D. Right now we are doing like an HP Lovecraft, Call of Cthulhu sort of thing, but soon we'll be wrapping up and doing season 5, which will be a space adventure that is sort of like Star Wars meets Star Trek meets Firefly.
Yeah.
And in a little bit, I will go live on Twitch on my channel, which is twitch.tv/worldsmostokaySDM, where we're going to try and finish out the rest of the alien races that we're trying to make for season 5. So feel free to come out and do that. This weekend, I will be on twitch.tv/botched podcast as my patrons have decided it's a good idea for me to have to frickin' live stream our bi-weekly games. So come hang out for that train wreck.
Very cool. Chris, where can we find you, buddy?
You can find me weekly on Breaking the Panel over at Giant Size Team Up Network. All the podcatchers, we do that Wednesday night. We're starting with the new year. We're going to be doing that live on Wednesday nights on Twitch. So you can find us over GSTU Media. You can find me on the Twitters and the Instagrams and the Facebook at either Christoph Wisdom or in All Things Wisdom. Type in one of those two things, you'll find me. And maybe I'll be twitching in some shape or form myself after the new year too.
Very, very
We'll
cool.
be twitching.
And guys, I am the Blazing Defender. I do a weekly comic book review show where I grab comic books for the week, and I kind of let you know what I think's worth your money and what maybe you can pass on. I've also been doing this show, the Mando Monologues, and this will be the last show of the season, obviously. But the Scum and Villainy crew will be back for season 2, and we'll do this again. Dennis and I are still working on The Witcher. We probably are just going to do a Witcher
Season
review show for the whole season. Yeah, once I finish. Dennis has already binged it. But I'm still a few episodes behind. So we'll definitely be looking for that. And I promise, guys, after first of the year, I'm going to get back to the comic books. Everything's been kind of slow. The last one I did, you guys, it was, I'm so glad you guys are buying Money Shot. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And The Last God by Philip Kennedy Johnson is fucking amazing. If you're a Game of Thrones fan.
What you mean friend of the show?
Yeah, I do mean friend of the show. Yeah, and he's already hit me up that next time he comes back in town, we're going to do something live together, like old school podcasting. So, which I'm very, very looking forward to. He's just a fucking great guy to have on and super, super talented. And I have his promise that he will never be too big for my show. And I told him, when you go to San Diego, motherfucker, I'm coming. I don't give a shit if you call me a bodyguard, a groupie. I don't give a shit, but I'm coming with you. And he's like, you are already on the docket, buddy. And I'm like, very fucking cool.
This is my large friend, Travis.
Yes, yes. Philip is a fucking great dude. But The Last God, if you like The Witcher, you like Game of Thrones, man, that comic book is only in issue 3. You're going to fucking dig it. I promise. It is deep. Lots and lots and lots of world building, lots of lore. He's doing some really, really crazy stuff. The art is fantastic. I mean, it's a hit, man. It really is going to be a hit. So, but I'll be talking more and more about that on the show. Follow me on Facebook page, Blazing Defender Report, Instagram, Twitter, Anchor, iTunes, all those places. And right here on Twitch, man, you can go hit my library and look at all the past shows of the Mando Monologues and the Blazing Defender Report. And with that, guys, I just want to thank all my guests. I want to thank the chat. You guys were fantastic tonight. I want to thank my guests. Always, Chris, thanks for being on, brother. I know we've been
thanks, man.
trying to get you on. And
sorry, it couldn't happen sooner, man.
Worked. What's that?
Yep. So sorry, it couldn't happen sooner.
Oh, yeah, man. No,
That's why he brings the backup lore.
And also, Chris is
all
also
the same knowledge with half the accuracy.
That's awesome. Chris is also a member of our armed forces. I want to say, Chris, thank you for your service. I appreciate it. I know a lot of us do in the chat as well. And guys, it's the holiday season. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, by the way, and a Happy New Year. Have a safe, Happy New Year. And just treat people like you would want to be treated, and we can try to make this world just a little bit better place. And for the Scum and Villainy crew and the Blazing Defender, we're out. Peace.